So, Toastmaster Mohammed Kuni, is social media a boon or bane? Is social media a boon or bane? Toastmaster Mohammed Kuni.
Am I audible and visible now?
Yes, now you're audible and visible.
We work together to bring out the best in each of us, and then we apply these skills to help others. So said Ralph Smedley, the founder of Toastmasters. Good morning and welcome, fellow Toastmasters and all dear guests, to this exclusive panel discussion. I get immersed in watching my social media accounts to my WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, etc. And my wife might need me very badly for some purpose. And I get scoldings from her for that. Sometimes the vice versa also happens. It causes a bane, which means a great distress or annoyance. And this is quite common nowadays in our families and outside with our friends. Contrary to this, I've also enjoyed the most memorable moments, sharing it with my friends, relatives, and to those of many friends throughout the globe whom I have never met. To segregate the rocks, pebbles, and sands, and to bring awareness among us and the public, I welcome you all to this panel discussion on the topic, is social media a boon or bane? To express their views and enlighten us about the topic today, we have three distinguished Toastmasters of our division who are experts in their respective fields par excellence, and they are eminent Toastmasters. I have 9 questions to ask today to them, 3 to each of them in a round robin method. If time permits, we will have a question and answer session at the end. Our first panelist is DTM Chandil Kumar. I have heard his live speeches in a jam-packed session in Mangalore. He was a crowd pleaser. He mesmerized the audience. Chandil Kumar is a civil engineer and a corporate trainer of international acclaim. He is a TEDx speaker and is in a visiting faculty to leading business schools of IIM and ISB. He is the mentor of many Toastmaster clubs and a speaker with a humorous bone. Apart from this, he is an inveterate blogger and a whimsical writer. Let us welcome our first panelist, DTM Chandil Kumar, with a huge round of applause. Our second panelist is DTM Bharti Shavgur. She is a master facilitator in human resource development and a trainer in communication leadership for nearly 3 decades. With an MPhil in English literature, she is a former vice principal of College for Leadership and Human Resource Development in Mangalore and has taught English language and literature in St. Aloysius College, Mangalore too. Pursuing her PhD in literature, presently she is the editor at Tarjani Communications Limited. Let us hear again after a long time. Let us welcome her to our club, DTM Bharti Shavgur, with a huge round of applause. Our third panelist is none other than our own DTM, Oliver De Souza, a doctor by profession and a Toastmaster by passion. He's an avid reader and he says that he's in search of his ikigai. He specialized in public health, which deals with outbreaks such as the current COVID pandemic. He is well known in our division with his charming speeches and versatile personality. Let us welcome DTM Oliver de Souza as a third panelist of the day. My first question is to DTM Chandil Kumar. Sir, what are your initial thoughts on this topic? Is social media a boon or bane?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Am I audible, first of all? Yes. I think I'm going to be overstating the obvious when I tell this story about a wise old man in a village. A group of youngsters had become jealous of his wisdom and they wanted to put his intelligence to test. They cupped a bird in one hand and they said, "We will ask the old man whether the bird is dead or alive inside my hand. If he says it is dead, we will open the hand and let the bird fly. If he says it is alive, I will squeeze the neck and kill the bird and say it is dead. In no way can he be right." So they go and ask the old man, "Oh, wise man, I have a bird in my hand. Can you tell us whether it is dead or alive?" The old man looks and says, "Dead or alive, it is in your hands." So boon or bane, I think it is in your hands. I'm sure this is a very obvious answer, but I think this is the most pragmatic answer. Over to you, Mr. Mohammed.
That's a good story, relatable, sir, and we enjoyed it really. Now my second question is to DTM Bharti Shevgu. Madam, if children need access to the internet, should it be supervised? They are using it for education purpose as a boon, but could it also have a negative effect, Madam?
Good morning, Toastmaster moderator, Toastmaster Mohammed, my fellow panelists, Chandil and Oliver, and all other members of Milagres Toastmasters Club. To answer your question, we have had an excellent anecdote as well as a pragmatic opinion about the issue from DTM Chandil. Do children need to be monitored? Was your question, if I'm not wrong, Taj?
Yes, madam, yes.
Yes,
Right.
when they are being introduced into it, they definitely do need to be monitored in the sense that is only a technology. Now, technology is being used all over the world, and the ethics or values of the world cannot be everybody's. Now the whole world is coming to you. Now the whole world brings its own baggage to you. So when we are introducing our children to it, we do need to be there, just like anything else, to say, this is something wonderful that is coming to you like everything else, but it's not your mother and father, it's not your house. It is the world. So I would like to allow you to see this, this, and this. And as time progresses, we will see what changes you need. But monitoring, I feel, is definitely needed. You can't just give a phone to a kid, right? You can't do it. You're a parent. So our parents didn't need to think of it. We didn't grow up in that. Neither did my son. But my granddaughter is growing up into that. And I know that she has access only to YouTube Kids. So it is necessary that parents monitor and keep monitoring, keeping the changing requirements of the child in mind. That would be my answer to you as a starter.
Yeah, that's very true, madam, and hope that it will help everyone to follow that. Now, my question is to our own third panelist. As you all know that he is a doctor by profession. The question I want to ask him is, so what are the physical problems caused due to excessive use of social media?
Good morning to this August gathering. Toastmaster of the day, Santosh Naik, to our panel moderator, Sir Mohammed Kuni sir. Please understand, when we talk about social media, this is, as Bharti ma'am has rightly pointed out, this is an issue that we never had to deal with growing up. I remember when we were young, it was compulsory and mandatory by our parents that we don't enter the house until we have played with the neighborhood children. Today, with tuitions, where students are being cramped to get the highest marks, we have 100% cutoffs in good universities. I'm not sure if someone can get 101%. Now, over and above this, if you say we are going to also make you give you access to social media, which inevitably happens on an online platform. And please remember, today's children are not viewing social media or any media on their laptops or on their desktops. They are doing it on their phones. So invariably, right from childhood, they're going to be craning their necks. They are going to be exposed to a huge amount of information, which the other panelists have rightly mentioned is not appropriate, because they honestly do not have the capacity to judge the difference between what is essential, what is age appropriate. But more importantly, it is not the social media exposure that I'm concerned about. It is the lack of physical activity that they would have otherwise been exposed to. I think the 2020 lockdown, while it hit education very badly, the physical aspect, because children for the first time were forced to go out and play. And I've seen in several places that and a lot of parents have also come and said, yes, we were scared to send our children to play with the neighboring children. But because we are in India and we have frequent power outbreaks, children were forced to go, and for the first time in their life, they were forced to play outside. And that is something that concerns me. What happens when we reintroduce social media into this gambit? Because we all know social media is a marake. There is a lot that has to be ciphered and regulated, at least as far as children are concerned. I hope that answers your, indirectly answers your question, sir.
That's very true, Dr. Oliver. We are lacking physical activity, not only children, even elders. The time to do exercise is spent in these devices. That's the problem. So we will take your guidelines, sir. Now my next question is to DTM Chandil Kumar again. Sir, in professional life, how has social media helped you, sir?
Yes. Mr. Moderator, I must admit, the social media, the advent of social media has made a one-man army like me flourish beyond borders. Earlier, I had to have a marketing setup, or I had to be a part of a large organization to get contacts. But now, all I need is a decent website and some active posting on LinkedIn, Facebook, meaningful posts, not malarkey, but meaningful posts. And you start growing your audience who start liking your posts. And precisely because of this, 60% of my business has come from not existing customers, but from new customers who have been attracted by my social media postings. So the first answer to your question is yes, social media has definitely improved the way I go up in business. And look at the marketing costs that I've cut down. Earlier, I had to hire a marketer and commission, sales, nothing of that sort. I am my message. If I have an active YouTube channel, I can really expand my borders. It is not just for trainers like me, aspiring singers, aspiring cooks, chefs, what a record they're creating with their YouTube videos. Of course, your stuff better be good. I'm not saying that you can pass off anything and then get marketed. But the democratization of social media has greatly helped professionals like me, who otherwise would have been stuck to a small milieu, like say Bangalore, or maybe not go beyond my state. To that extent, I think social media has opened up borders, beyond borders, yes.
Yes, sir, that's a very relevant information, sir. And so even there are millionaires in this, those who are engaged in this kind of publishing their videos and all in YouTube. And they're earning so much money, sir. And marketing has become very easy nowadays due to this social media. That's an advantage that we have to accept. Now, my next question is to Bharti Shabgur, ma'am. Madam, in my village, I have a relative by name Mr. Shahul Hamid. He has compiled a book on his daily Facebook articles. Also, I have heard a TED talk, Social Media are Modern Literature. As a literary expert, what is your perspective on these ideas, ma'am?
Yeah, all right. You're speaking on the post that we put up maybe on Facebook or Twitter, there's very little. Even Insta, there's very little text, but maybe Facebook has more text than the others. Now, if you're talking about people looking at, there are two types of, as a media person, I look at it from two viewpoints. One is printed text and one is spoken language. Now, your spoken language benefits a lot from social media because there are new types of terminologies that come up. Youngsters have a new type of way of, I wouldn't say new, there are additions. Like in any other sphere, there will be additions. The vocabulary has changes. Now, when you are adapting that as a spoken medium, it's wonderful. But as a printed medium, no, absolutely no. You have to be grammatically correct and you have to aspire to be refined, concise and precise, no doubt, but always grammatically correct. But let's say in the case of stand-up comedians, for example, the 4-letter words that they use. Now, would you use it anyway? I wouldn't do that. But in that milieu, it is perfect. It's all right. In fact, if that is not there, you may not really end up being a hit or a very popular person. There are people who don't use it. There's Rajashekhar Mamidanna, who was formerly a Toastmaster. I don't know if he's still one now. I have not heard him using 4-letter word, but he's still fine. And his sense of comic, let's say, thought is still refined. Now, my point is, read it, keep it, and see if you forget about this 4-letter words. There are other things like, recently, my bad. What's my bad? My bad is my bad luck. They're just lazy. Don't use that word luck. And now it is my bad all the time. If you've forgotten something, oh, my bad. Now it has gotten into usage. We don't know how long it will stay. But as long as it stays, you can use it while you speak, but not while you write. And as for Facebook, let's say collecting your Facebook posts and compiling it together, do it for your benefit. But what you will do with it is a point. Now, if you publish it, who is going to read it? How much attention span do people have to read something that is just rambling thoughts? Our attention span is very little. It has been recorded that it is decreasing by the day. So read social media, take something that you like, use it when you speak, but not when you write. That would be what I tell you. Yes, over to you.
Yeah, yes. To make it clear, ma'am, whatever is beneficial to the community or the public, we can trace it out and we can publish it, no? Is there any problem?
I'm just speaking of the quality of language only.
The language quality should be kept up. That's what you say. When we do this kind of thing, the language quality should be. Yeah, that's
Language
clear.
quality for text, for printing has to be the same as it always was.
After many editings only we have to publish it. Yeah.
When speaking, you can include something that's modern, more modern, but may not be strictly grammatical. That's why I gave you the example of my bad.
Yeah, that's clear, madam. Now that's clear. Now my next question is to DTM Oliver D'Souza. Sir, what are the mental problems caused due to excessive use of social media, sir?
So at the end of the day, social media is just another form of media. So what is social media when is nothing but the creation of ideas, sharing them, storing them, and viewing them. Now this has existed right from the cave paintings that our ancient ancestors did, okay, to the sudden proliferation during by the Gutenberg printing press. And now we're just seeing a different phase of the same with the internet, which was initially supposed to be a free source of media, free source of information. Now the question is, it has we can argue till the cows come home about the nature of how the internet has changed, whether it is good or bad. But when you talk about mental health, please keep in mind there are three aspects that are relevant. First is the content creators. Because if some media is being consumed, there has to be someone who's creating it. What is their mental health? Can we realistically say that someone is going to look glamorous, fabulous, morning till evening? Is that humanly possible? The amount of stress that falls on people who are creating content to have the latest gadgets because they need to show it off. Then also the responsibility that and the mental health of the platform people who maintain the platforms, because they are the largest IT companies in the world. And finally, us consumers. So is mental health being affected? Definitely. There is no doubt about it. And we know there have been several studies that have been conducted. Like as ma'am said, our attention span is coming down. And this has real world implications. People have low self-esteem, especially those who are constantly on Instagram, low social increased use of Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok increases low self-esteem, especially in teenagers, both males and females. Is it necessary to say it is evil? No, because there is a responsibility on even the consumers to know that, yes, this is not right for me. And this, I think, has been elicited by both the other two, both DTM Chandil and DTM Bharti ma'am. At the end of the day, the onus lies on us, because obviously the content creators nor the platforms are interested in moderating it because it is not profitable for them. So when we know that mentally it is, if we do not look at the right content, we are going to be damaging our own mental health. We need to be able and mature enough to shift through the stones, pebbles, and sand to go and look at the right content. So I wouldn't say social media per se and the platforms that perpetuate it are bad or evil. That is the nature of their business. The onus, I would say, is we have to be mentally, when you talk about mental health, we need to focus on our own, take a bit of responsibility ourselves. Not 100%, I'll be clear about it. I think all three parties are equally responsible. So that is my take on it.
Yes, sir. That's right. So we all have to be aware of the necessity of mental health that we have to develop. And also, Dr. Oliver, we have seen in teenagers, as you said, even loss of life just for not giving the more devices or playing continuously some game, I don't know, PUBG or something. So something like this. So we have seen these kind of incidents. Very sad that it's going to that extent. So we have to be very much aware of our and as well as our children's mental health, and we have to be always conscious to be vigilant about that. Now, my next question is to DTM Sendil Kumar. Sir, what is your advice on how to manage our time with social media creatively, sir?
Yes, I think even I'm desperately searching for an answer to this question. But as you rightly said, once we get addicted, it is becoming too much of a strain on each one of us, both physically and mentally. And we seem to be cut off to the other world. In fact, last week I saw a tweet from a youngster. He said, today there was a 2-hour power cut and the battery in my phone had drained off. I stepped inside my home and had a chat with my dad, mom, sister, and brother. They seem to be nice people.
Oh, great.
Now, this is the extent we have distanced ourselves from talk, the art of conversation is missing. Exactly. And I can fully empathize with Bharti Shebdur when she deplores the lack of English standards. In a WhatsApp chat, I simply said, thank you. And this girl replies, WC. My idea of WC is the water closet. But she said, no, it is a short form for welcome. I said, please strain a bit and say welcome. I'll at least understand. So how do I creatively manage? But on the contrary, let me tell you, Mr. Moderator, these young people are using social media very creatively to become better in their professions. Artists, graphic designers, musicians, they are able to put together a band sitting in remote places and then improving the talent. So just to go back to what I said, yes, it can really kill your time. But if you realize that this can be used as a tremendous tool, I think the best way to get involved in social media is make sure it matches your passion. For example, I'm a trainer. I love to read. So reading has become very simple for me because I subscribe to Kindle and I download a lot of books, which otherwise would have cost me a fortune. I'm able to download Kindle editions at half the price and at my convenience. So I think the creative use of social media depends on if you're able to align this to your profession. My friend's son, he's an aspiring photographer. So he has managed to subscribe to all the world famous photographers and gets tips from them. And I, as a travel blogger, I'm in consistent touch with world famous bloggers who give me tips on what to visit and what not to visit. So align your social media usage to your passion, and I'm sure you will find it much easier. And a request to all the youngsters, at least have the courtesy to type OK. My son sends back K. I asked him, what is K? He says it is OK, short form of OK. God bless this generation. Over to you, Mr. Moderator.
That's very relevant, sir. So let us stop all this malarkey and let us not make a storm in the teacup. So we will stick on to these guidelines and let us use it as a positive tool for our development. Now, my next question is to DTM Bharti Shebdur. Madam, how to handle negativity from social media? Even when we post something, at once comes some negative comments and it really makes us in distress. So how to tackle this? For negative opinions, now constructive, now if somebody is constructively criticizing us, this can be handled. But when it is total negativity, which we never imagined, it's really difficult to deal with this kind of problem. So I'm asking you how to deal with this, madam.
Yes, Moderator, Toastmaster Mohammed. We are in the virtual world. We are not in the real world. In the real world, we interact only with those of our ilk, those whose ideas and opinions are in consonance with us. I will not go to some, let's say, some forum where I know the ideas don't align with what I think and give my opinion there. That kind of action does not happen. Why should we think that in the virtual world, it is okay to accept friend requests or whatever from people who are not of the kind of thoughts that I think, and give my opinion and expect them to say, yeah, wonderful, very good, great. It can't happen, you see. So we have to understand the modus operandi of this virtual world. Don't fight with strangers on the net. Why? Why? Don't we have better things to do? The issues of the world are not solved on Facebook, neither on Twitter nor on Instagram or whichever other social media. Social media is exactly that, be as social as possible. People use it to show their new car or new house or some achievement, or we ourselves as Toastmasters, we use it for PR. Fine, do that. There's no way somebody else can say you didn't achieve. You have your right to do it. But if I want to give an opinion that may not be accepted by the world, I have to be ready for this negativity too, right?
Yeah,
So
that's right.
unless you want to spend your time quarreling with strangers on the internet, don't give out opinions that might spark some opinion that is not a happy place for you. It is your choice. So I can't call it negativity. It would be very entitled on my part to expect the whole world to agree if I say non-vegetarian is a terrible thing to do. How can we kill animals to eat them? I can't expect everybody to agree with that, because that's a value conflict that will happen. Don't do it. Tune our ways of functioning to understand the internet space better. It's up to us. We are still new to it. And because we are loved in our homes, in our offices, we are respected, and in the society, in my small Mangalore, which is still a big village. Okay, Bharati Shevgur, people know, oh, you're Bharati Shevgur, all good, all nice. But the whole world is not that. I can't expect everybody to agree to what I say because I have certain opinion. Just as I don't go ahead and give it in strange places, don't give it on the net. That is what I have to say. We have to learn to use it. Just because we have a stage, we don't use it for, to be free to say what we want. We can't. The world has people with different opinions, different experiences. People come from different places. So we have to learn to be safe there. We have to learn to be all right there. All of us learn. We have, we get hurt in the initial stages. We know that we're shocked at what people say. And then we understand, I have to be more careful. There are people who may not agree. This is how we have to go. It's not freedom of speech 100%.
Yeah, madam. That's very true. I agree with that, madam. And so we have, like in other walks of life, we have to face negativity many times. So here also we have to face negativity. And
yeah, I like to interrupt you. I don't know if we can call it negativity. Just because somebody disagrees with me, it doesn't become negativity. It is disagreement. If I can live with it online and continue the argument, fine. Otherwise, I'm going to get into trouble, get everybody else into trouble there. So
yeah, that's what I said.
I think the word negativity is very judgmental.
No, I mean, if it is not constructive criticism, as I said, so this comes to the negative. Means it shows a totally turned up situation. So that's it.
All right. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, so your guidelines are very relevant, ma'am, and we have to face the negativity, and we have to be ready to face the negativity. That's what I understand from your opinions. And the next question to, and the last, my ninth question, the last question to DTM Oliver is that to add to the points of DTM Chandil Kumar, how can we use social media effectively?
Considering the paucity of time that this and the fact that we are nearing the red flag has already been raised, I'll just get cut to the chase and get to the point. See, at the end of the day, this is a new media that has been popped up and fostered upon us. Initially, we will make mistakes. We will, as DTM Bharti has mentioned, very well mentioned, we are going to do some foolish steps. We are going to make mistakes. We are going to fall down. So it does take a lot of effort to identify these trigger points and realize what is essential and what is not essential. And this is different. I cannot give do this checklist for each and every person, because what works for me might not work for the next person. It is at the end of the day, when we talk about social media, everyone puts it in a very negative connotation. It's just a storm in a teacup. It is up to us to follow Mr. Chandil's example and engage with his targeted audience. Or you're just simply wasting time of your time and the person who's engaging on social media with you. So that is my 2 cents on the topic. All right, sir.
Yes, sir, that's very informative. To add to Mr. DTM Chandil's points, so we have got a very good discussion. And now I would like to invite somebody from the audience. I especially some youth want to know the youth perspective of this problem. We'll give him 1 minute to express his ideas, whoever it is, his or her. So I'll wait for them. You can also ask a question for 1 minute. Any youth can come and express their points.
Maybe people are wondering if they are youth or not. That is the question.
Yeah, students. Many students are there here.
Yeah, even I am a student now, so even that is questionable.
That means of school, college students.
Technically, it's only Toastmaster Santosh who is a student
Santosh
here.
So
okay,
you can. Santosh, please come. You have your time.
Yeah. So my question is, because of social media, a lot of youth are following wrong influencers on Instagram or YouTube, and they are taking them as some authority, and they're being in whatever they say. This can affect their mindset and their future. What is your thought on this?
May I answer?
Yeah, my question is.
I got the question. I'm asking.
Bharti ma'am can answer.
Yeah. The point is, Toastmaster Santosh, it is up to the caregivers or parents, mother, father, anyone who's a caregiver, to have her ears on the ground to sense if there is some change in the behavior, thought process, opinion, which reflects a value. The parents have to be careful to see what is happening in the lives of their children, not hover around like helicopter parents, not that. But if they sense something, and sensing will happen only if they are aware of it, if there is some change, there has to be a dialogue or an influence or counseling that happens. Because we can't help it that youngsters will be influenced from outside. They will always be. Parents and teachers are not the ultimate. The society itself will influence. So we've got to be aware of it. And when you are in the role of a parent, I guess you will understand, and even now you understand how aware we have to be of influences beyond what would have happened if there was no social media. That's my answer to you. It will happen.
Yeah, thank you.
That's right. That's right. So, Santosh, I think that's the proper answer to your question.
Oliver, answer, am I right?
So, Santosh, when they were digging in the historical monuments in Greece, in antiquity was a epicenter of philosophy. They found this tablet written by an unknown person, and obviously it was in Greek. And when they translated it, it was the person who was lamenting that his children are following these radical new ideas, which were never present when he was a young man. Remember one thing, every parent thinks they know what is best for their child. And this has been happening not from the last 20 years, not from the previous generation or your grandparents' generation. It has been happening for more than 2,000 to 3,000 years. We need to also give them the benefit of doubt because they are truly have unlimited potential. All right.
Yeah.
So assuming that, we know everything is what is best and what is right, trust me, that has been happening for millennia, not centuries. Sorry.
But yeah, that's a good info added by DTM Oliver. And our panelist, DTM Chandil Kumar, had to leave. I just want to summarize the main points that we had from DTM Chandil Kumar. He enlightened us about the positive uses, how to manage the time for correcting ourselves, and we have to realize the real effects of it and be aware of everything that gives the negative elements. And also DTM Bharti, she reinstated to monitor children and also to correct their grammar when we want to publish something from the literature forms which out of the social media postings. And DTM Oliver, he went too deep into the medical, physical, mental aspects, as well as he gave us many guidelines for our questions. And so it's almost time to wind up. So as a knife can be used to cut an apple or to harm someone, decluttering all the negative aspects that it brings, let us use social media to make this world a better place. I thank each and every panelist for participating in today's panel discussion. Thank you, DTM Chandil Kumar, for your gracious presence here and enlightening us with a bang. Thank you, DTM Bharti Shevgur, for accepting our invitation and adding value to this discussion. Thank you, our own DTM Oliver, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Educating us in a medical perspective, for enlightening all of us, for spending your valuable time today with us. I thank all my fellow Toastmasters and my dear guests too for their presence and cooperation throughout this session. Hope that you all have enjoyed this panel discussion. Have a nice day and back to TMOD.
So that was an excellent panel discussion. Thank you, Toastmaster Mohammad Kuni, DTM Chandil Kumar, DTM Bharti Shevgur, and DTM Oliver for such great insights on social media.